Welcome to the C-Bin podcast, a show where artists and musicians with an axe to grind throw things deep into the abyss of the C-Bin. Transphobia, racism, ableism, anti-Semitism, sexism, and homophobia, it all gets dumped on the trash! How's it going, guys? Welcome to the motherfucking C-Bin podcast. It's everyone's favourite big voluptuous absent father, Big Tasty. How's it going? It's been a month. I've taken January to chill. Basically, just before Christmas, I lost my fucking job, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then I was like freaking out, and I was like, "Oh god!" But I finally found a new job. Hip hip hooray! Shout out to Root Note, giving your boy a little job, so that's sick. So that's fine. I've stopped panicking now. I can pay the rent. Everything's fine. My balls are no longer in my throat. But we also tried to record this just before Christmas, and then like all the technical difficulties in the world happened, and it was like, okay, we'll leave it a month and let the universe calm down before we try again. And it's with everyone's favorite sexy. Tiger loving, festival booking, absolutely definitely not Conor McGregor. It's Andy Davies from bands like Knife Club, and he runs TNS and does MPF and all that business. How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it's good to finally be here after everything going wrong last time.
Yeah, oh mate, that was so bad. I felt so sorry for you because everything was going wrong, and by the time we actually finally started to get it to work and the connection was happening, I could tell that like both of us were just like anxious balls of mess, and we just couldn't record. We were like, "So, how's life? Is life good? Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah, we got like about a minute in, and we were like, "Oh, it's working," and then the internet cut out as well. Didn't it? It was just a whirlwind of everything going wrong, I think.
Yeah, well, speaking of whirlwinds of everything going right, today as we're recording, I think you just announced the final lineup for MPF.
Yeah, yes.
God, how's that feel?
Yeah, it's good to have it out there. Obviously, we've been sitting on a lot of those bands for a while, so yeah, it's exciting to see what people think. Seems to have had a pretty good reaction so far. We're pretty buzzing with the lineup as a whole, really. It's
oh man, it's crazy. I remember when the first stream of bands came out, and it was just like, no way have you guys got fucking Piss Jeans and fucking Scream, and like just it was just, I feel like every year it just kind of surpasses itself in terms of scale. It must be like I can only imagine it being quite scary, like holding on to all this information and waiting for it to come out, and like anticipating how people are going to react and whether or not because you've had like so many like years where you've knocked out the park and knocked out the park and knocked out the park. I imagine that at a certain point you're just like, okay, is this the year where everyone hates it and no one likes the bands and we fuck it up? Like, do you get those anxious feelings?
Yeah, or is it... I mean, I always get anxious about everything anyway, so it's hard, isn't it? Like, you're trying to book a lineup that there's so many factors really that you want to book a lineup that you're really happy with and really excited by. But you also have a responsibility to book a lineup that everyone else is really excited by. So you're always sort of hoping that people are going to enjoy it. And I think like, because we have such a diverse mix of bands and different sounds and stuff, there tends to be something for everyone. Yeah. I think you've got your sort of core following who are going to come every year, and they sort of trust you with the lineup, and they like the sort of bands from our scene really, and they'd come for that anyway, and they'd sort of trust that you've got some new exciting stuff that they've maybe not heard before. But then sort of to get to where you need to with the tickets, you need those headline bands as well, which are going to bring in maybe people who are new to it, and that's where I guess you see a bit of pressure.
I feel like every year, because I've been fortunate enough to have been included in the lineup like in some capacity the last few years, so I've like had a good few years in a row of coming as to perform, but also just to like stay for the weekend and be a punter. And I feel like most of the people that I speak to just come for the vibe. Like, they just come because it's like everyone they know and love is there for one weekend. You get to hang out with everyone, and a lot of them don't even know who they're going to go see. They just go and see the bands they don't know because...
Yeah, that's a really cool thing, I think. We always sort of encourage that, because sometimes there'll be like 7 bands on at the same time. And I guess one of the bits of feedback you always get is people don't like some of the clashes, but we always sort of say, well, go to the band that you've seen less, or you're less likely to see, or if there's nothing on you want to watch at a particular time, just go and watch some of it. And people find loads of new bands through doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the vibe thing, definitely. Like, I think, because you can't walk anywhere, can you, without seeing about 1 million people,
That's the thing, you want to go see a band, you better like leave an hour ahead, because pretty much the entire weekend, you'd walk from Breadshed down to like the main room, and I'm going to be bumping into you. I'm going to be bumping into like the Nosebleed Boys. I'll be bumping into Jim Bob from Bruise Control. I'll be bumping into like fucking Jim Bob from Pizza Tramp, pissed up in the street, puking his guts up, and you just end up having like a series of 15 minutes conversations with everyone over the whole weekend. And it's good. I think NPS have got to that point now where it's become like a trusted curation, where people just know that wherever they go, they're going to have a good time. It doesn't really matter who they see, which I think is a good thing.
Cool.
Yeah, and Knife Club have been busy as well, right? You got new music coming out?
We put an album out last year. That was cool. Really happy with it. It's the first one we had like keys on, so we'd sort of been writing with having keys and synth in mind, and then our friend Kim joined, and she's like really proper added loads to it. So that seems to have done all right, that album. And yeah,
you're going to keep piling members on until like you're at are you at Slipknot levels of members now? I can't remember how many members of the club there are.
7. So we're not Slipknot yet, are we?
You could be.
Yeah.
That could be the next turn of events.
I'd love to get someone just hitting bins.
just hire Boom Boom Raccoon to come and do that. Speaking of bins, what a transition. Shall we start throwing some things in the bin? You got some cool things. One of them is a continuation of the last time you were on the show. It's an exciting update. Do you want to jump into that one first?
Yeah. Well. Yeah, so like people who listened last time, I thought they'd be pretty keen to hear the update on my ridiculous next door neighbour. So I guess for people who didn't hear the last one, I didn't put the same thing in the seat. Well, I don't know if it's in yet. To be honest, I'm not sure if I want this one to go in, but I'll come to that in a minute.
It's more of an important update.
Yeah.
People need to know.
So last time I put in awkward interactions with neighbours, and it was two things. Like my neighbour on one side, they're lovely, and they made like some cakes and brought them round, and I couldn't eat them because they weren't vegan, but I didn't have the heart to tell them. So that was kind of nice. But on the other side, the man next door is retired, and he has this sort of irrational hatred of trees. And there's some big trees in my garden and in most of the gardens on this road, like I think they were planted years and years ago, obviously to grow that high, but it's nothing to do with me. I've not lived here long enough for a tree to grow as high as the trees have grown. But one day I come home from work and he was just like, "Do you want to cut that tree down in my garden?" And I was like, "Well, what now?" And he cut it down. So yeah, that's what I put in last time, because I ended up buying him a crate of Guinness to say thank you for cutting down some trees that I didn't want cut down.
Yeah.
It has escalated quite significantly.
This is the great thing, is like, me and you are busy boys, right? We don't talk super often, we'll catch up at MPF, we'll talk here and there. But one thing that has remained constant is that anytime your neighbour does some unsolicited shrubbery maintenance, I'll get a little video, I'll get a little update, and it always brightens my life up. But yeah, so what's been going on? What's been cracking with this fucking verdant criminal?
So, there's two big trees in the garden. Well, there was two big trees in the back garden. One, big conifer. And I don't know anything about trees, but another big tree that's not a conifer. And maybe they were blocking his light or something, but he's already taken out 4 trees. So he come round and said, the neighbour on the other side says it's blocking their light. Do you want me to just cut it back a bit? I was like, and he's retired and he's bored, so I went, yeah, if you want, don't worry. Yeah. I said, I feel bad you coming and doing my garden. He was like, oh, I do 3 or 4 gardens on the street. I don't know if he has permission or if, but I know one of them's elderly, so maybe he's asked her, or maybe she's no way of stopping him. I don't know, but anyway, so he said, I'll trim it back a bit, and I come home from work, And trimming it back a bit was the understatement of the year. It was a tree massacre. So anyway, I'm looking at it thinking, it's all like, he's cut it with a handsaw and stuff, and I'm thinking, it doesn't look good, that. It's a bit messy. Anyway, Tim Loud is a tree surgeon. So I messaged him and said, because he'd sort of been hinting that he wanted these trees taken down, and I knew Tim had started this business, so I'd sort of said, maybe I'll just get them trimmed back or taken down, just because I'm fed up of him knocking on and moaning about it. Anyway, so Tim was like, you need to sort that. He's going to die. So Tim come round and tidied it all up and stuff, and it was quite funny. I was sitting in my garden having a brew, and Tim was just like up this tree, and I was thinking, what is going on here? I'm like,
the escalation to now include punk rock legend Tim Loud.
Yeah. So anyway, he sorted it out, and he's cut it right back, and it's all neat and tidy, whatever. And I'm sure my neighbour's very happy about that. But the conifer on the other side's massive, and Tim was like, it's a bit of a mission to sort that. I can sort it for you, but I can't sort it today. It was a big job, so I was like, I'll come back to you in the new year, because obviously I'm going to pay him and stuff, and I hadn't sort of budgeted for all this landscape gardening. So he goes, so my neighbour's going, your mate's done a good job, but I don't mind doing it. I'm bored, I'm retired, I'll do it. So I come home, and I don't know what, he must have some ladders or something. So he's got really high up this conifer, but he can't get to the top. So he's cut it all back. But there's just a big bit at the top which isn't cut back. And it's like some sort of massive, I don't know, it looks like some sort of massive mushroom or something. It's ridiculous. And I'm like looking at it thinking, I'm sure that must be more annoying to look at from your house, like from your bedroom window, than what was there before. So now I've just got this absolutely bizarre tree. I've sent you a photo, but I'll do the photo for the episode in front of it.
Oh my God.
But the reason I'm not sure if I want it to go in is because I was thinking, right, because obviously we planned what we were going to put in before Christmas, and I was like, right, what is going on here? It's cost me another crate of Guinness, it's cost me some money to Tim, who did me obviously a very nice deal and stuff, but it's cost me some money to Tim to sort out this tree. And I'm a bit annoyed with him. But then, like when I first moved into this house, my granddad made me this bird table, and it was like really nice gesture and stuff. And it's sort of fallen apart over the years. And my neighbours fixed the bird table. I come home from work the other day, and he fixed the bird table, and he'd hung all bird seed on it and stuff, and he tied it up all like around the side of the shed and stuff. And I thought, he is just actually a really nice guy, isn't he? He just doesn't seem to understand the boundaries of what is acceptable to do in someone else's garden.
That's very sweet, but it is like, I don't know, it's like, what next? Is he going to come home and he's going to be like doing your plumbing, or like,
I mean, it's funny, like, my girlfriend moved in not so long ago, and she was just washing up one day, and she was like, Andy, there's a man in the garden. I was like, here's a story for you.
Yeah. He's digging a massive tunnel. It appears he's planted an underground bunker in your garden.
Yeah, I mean, he is a nice bloke, isn't he? So I feel bad, but I also, I like trees. It's nice having trees in the garden.
Yeah, trees are, and trees encourage nice wildlife,
Yeah, there's all these confused squirrels now.
Yeah, and that bird table, it's going to be the tallest standing structure in the garden by the end of the fucking year. I think, it's definitely just a case of crossed boundaries. So, I don't know, maybe it's, instead of unsolicited tree surgery, it should be people who are being nice but are crossing boundaries. I don't know.
People who are being nice but don't fucking go in people's gardens.
Just ask permission, and if he's lonely and bored, maybe just be like, hello mate, do you want to watch some football later, or have a barbecue or something? I don't know.
I'm not sure I'm ready for inviting him in the house.
If you invite him in, he'll be like, "Oh, that stair's a bit squeaky." And he'll come home from work and he'll have like the fucking stairs ripped up, and he'll be trimming some lumber that he's cut from your own tree.
I actually need some work doing in the house. Do you fancy coming around for a Guinness? That plastering does need doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's like, I happen to have a trowel and some mud with me. Like, he's just going to start fucking slapping it down.
What a nice little add-on to this story. I don't know if I told you this last time. I don't think I did. So during lockdown, me and my mate Scott, we just sort of wandered. There's like this nice countryside bit near where I live. We just sort of wandered around, and like when you couldn't like meet indoors, and you could meet someone outside, and we just like took a couple of cans and just sort of wandered around having a chat and whatever. And we bumped into him, and there's this like fishing lake in this countryside, and he was just walking past with those big like massive, I don't know what they're called, but like
waders.
Yeah, and I went, all right, and he went, what are you up to? And I went, I'm just like having a can and a chat, you know. And he went, I went, what are you up to? He went, oh, I just dredged a fishing lake. So, so I don't know if anyone asked him to do that. I mean, it's not the sport of choice for vegans, is it, fishing? So I don't really know much about it. But...
Fucking hell, who is this guy? He's like council man. It's like some retired superhero that just does the council's job because he's bored.
So there you go.
I do like him. I'd like to meet him. If next time you see him, let him know if he wants to come on the show and have a good chat about... But like, what I want to throw inside my neighbour's trees is getting in the fucking way.
Yeah, get him on MPF on a live one or something, and he'll put me in. He'll definitely put me in. Inconsiderate neighbours who don't look after their garden.
Well, I think I'm going to leave this one up to you because you said you weren't sure if you wanted to throw it in. If it was up to me, I'd probably throw it in because even though that is nice, I do think it's a bit like, come on, mate, like read the room. But I could throw the slow bro and leave it up to fate. But I'm gonna give it off to you and say it's up to you to choose.
Can I make a decision at the end and just do it?
Yeah.
Right, and we'll sit on it because I wonder if there's going to be another episode, and I don't want to cut it off too soon.
Yeah, true.
The story, not the tree.
Right, we'll ruminate on this, and judgment will be given later, and it'll be swift and final. So yeah, to be continued. Boom, boom, boom. What's the next spin you got for me, Mister?
I don't know what the best order to put these in. I'm going to go
alphabetical.
I'm going to go with the drinking one.
I like this one.
Yeah, so I thought this. When I was trying to decide what to do, I thought I want something that's sort of semi-funny, but semi-serious as well. And I think this has got a funny side to it and the serious side to it.
So hit me with it. What's the
thing I want to put in is when you've been on a night out and someone decides to tell you or anyone else who's been on that night out how drunk they'd been the night before. So telling people how drunk they were on a night out. So I also wanted to put this in because I've been drinking less lately, and I realised I'd started doing it, and I thought if I put it in, it might be the kick up the arse I need to make sure I don't do it myself.
Oh, you started what?
Telling people, oh, you were hammered last night. I'm like, no, I don't want to be that person who says that.
Right.
Because I don't like it when someone says it to me. So I guess we'll start like with the funny side of it. Like, with someone, like it's expensive to drink now, isn't it? And like if like you've spent 60, 70 quid on beer and someone comes up to you and goes, you were drunk last night, I should fucking hope so. I don't
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was the plan. That's why I spent all that money.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me. I lived it. I woke up with this hangover.
I wanted
it's
to
fine.
use that money to have fun, and that's what I did. But I guess the serious side to it was because I cut down quite a lot. I was thinking, why did I drink as much as I used to? And I thought one of the main reasons was I get quite anxious before I go out, and it would just really take the edge off that anxiety. And through people I know from the scene, like the punk scene, there's lots of people like that. And I thought, and I know from personal conversations that lots of people are the same. They just feel really awkward and anxious, and that's the reason they start drinking before they go out, to take that edge off and just feel a bit more comfortable. and relaxed, and then obviously that escalates, and you end up being drunk or whatever, and then being told the next day that you were very drunk starts that anxiety cycle over again.
Yeah, just like I don't want to know what I did or what I said. I just like,
because that's it. As an anxious person, you suddenly, the fear sets in, and you think, right, have I offended every single person I spoke to last night? And you spend hours picking apart the conversation.
Because I have the thing where I don't like the idea that I'm perceived outside of like what I'm experiencing. So whenever I find out that like someone's had a conversation, like if someone says, "Oh, me and so were talking about you last night," I get this like anchor in my gut where I'm like, "Oh God, what did you say? Fuck!" Like it kind of, I think it is connected to that. This kind of idea of like perception and how the universe digests you, and how people see you outside of how you see yourself. Big reason why I stopped drinking, as you know, I haven't drank a drop for nearly 15 years now. I'm like the opposite, in that when I drink, I get anxious and I close up and I become a person that's difficult to be around. So when I'm sober, I can talk to people and go and do my thing, and it's fine. Like, I have anxiety, but like it's not magnified by the booze. I would find out that people would be like, "Oh man, you were like weren't yourself last night. You were like really morose and sad, and I tried to talk to you, and you just seemed really depressed." And it's like, yeah, it's because I was fucking drinking. Like I was drinking liquid depression.
Well, I think that's the danger of drinking, isn't it? Because it can go either way for a lot of people. I mean, I've always said like there's two sort of types of drinking that I've done in my life, and there's drinking to have fun, and there's drinking because I feel like shit.
Yeah.
And when you get into the latter one, that's often how the night goes, isn't it? And that's, you know, when you're doing that, that is definitely a time to cut it out and cut it down and whatever.
It's a very slippery razor's edge as well, because I've played enough punk gigs to see people on that edge where they're like having the best night ever, and then literally 5 minutes later I see them and they're just like catatonic, and it's like, fucking hell, man, what happened?
Yeah.
you were like literally like on top of the world a minute ago. It can happen, man.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I guess the reason I wanted to put it in was for those two reasons, really. The funny one, it's like, I've always found it funny that someone would say, yeah, you were drunk, when that's what you went out to do and that's why you spent that money. So on that side of it, yeah, it's kind of funny. But then
it's like you wouldn't see someone at a restaurant and the next day be like, "Oh, fucking hell, like
you were full last night."
So, yeah, I was actually. Fucking hell.
Yeah, but then on the serious side, I thought, don't turn into the person who tells people that. So I thought, yeah, a bit of a kick up the arse to me, really.
Yeah. It's funny, when when you sent over your updated list and I read that, I thought you meant people that you're meeting. They'll be like, "Oh mate, last night I drank 12 pints, I did 16 shots, all doubles, and I was fine. I brushed it off, and then I was hitting the cocktails." Like, people like that annoy me as well. People that brag about how much they drink, and they'll tell you how much they've drank. And I'm always just like, as someone who's sober, like, that's like the most least like impressive thing to me. Not like I've got any like ill will to those who drink, but it always seems to happen to me with people like, "Oh mate, you should have seen me last night. I was 15 pints deep and I had 7 whiskeys." I'm like, cool. So I had like a really nice cup of tea and a wank, and I was fine.
See, I think I wouldn't ever do that, but I guess probably when I was a teenager I might have said that. But I think I've definitely like sort of seesawed on that. I certainly would be more likely to say I'd had less than I'd had these days. Oh, shit. I don't want people to know I spent shandies.
Yeah. That also, the spending money on drinks, it's fucking crazy. Like, I've reached that part of adulthood now where I can't just drink loads of fizzy pop anymore. Like, I can't drink like Coke for Coke with people that are drinking pints. So I've started having alcohol-free beers, because it's like, I want to have something that's not water, that has flavour, but isn't just like I'm getting like sugar, like annihilated with sugar. So now I'm like buying alcohol-free beers, but they're like the same or sometimes more expensive than actual beers.
Well, I went to an AO gig, like a arena gig in Manchester, and it was like, so there was a massive queue at the bar. Of course, I guess there's like nearly 20,000 people at the gig, and And they do these 2-pint cups. So I was like, just get one of them and I don't have to queue again, which was a terrible idea on 2 levels. First of all, it got warm about halfway down.
Yeah, warm and flat.
It was disgusting. But then, like, it was like £16.50.
What?
And I was
Fucking
like,
hell.
and my girlfriend was like, do you want me to take a photo of you with that? Because it looks really funny because it's bigger than your head. I was like, no, because I don't want anyone to know I spent £16.50 on two pints of Peroni or whatever it was, or Moretti.
Yeah. Probably most of that money was just paid for the cup, because the cup probably cost more than fucking that.
It's funny, I went for a piss about an hour after getting to the gig.
I don't blame you.
There was this massive guy in the toilet who, like, about 6'6", and he'd like big Scouse guy, and he said to his mate, "Oh fucking hell, I've only been here an hour," and I can't remember how much he said he'd spent, but I think it was like 60 quid or something. And he was like, "Yeah, it must have been like 70 quid," and he was like, "I've had 4 of those 2-pint cups. It cost a fortune."
Fucking mad, man! It's fucking crazy. Have you ever? I've seen like videos of people that have been at like Coachella Festival. Have you seen how much like drinks are at Coachella? They'll like, you'll get like a vodka Red Bull and like a beer, and then like 2 vodka Red Bulls and like 2 beers, and it's like $140 or something. It's like, fuck me, like what is no drink can be that good. Like being drunk cannot be that good.
No. Well, I went to Iceland at Christmas, and that's notoriously expensive for booze. Well, it wasn't like.
Oh, I thought you meant the shop that mums go to. I was like, fuck yeah, go to Iceland.
No, that's cheaper. but it wasn't like a drinking holiday really. It was like a nice holiday because it's beautiful country and stuff.
Yeah.
But like it was like £9 or £10 for a beer in most bars outside of the happy hours.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, I don't know where the line is where I wouldn't have a pint. But it's got to be close to that. I'm happy to have, when you're on holiday, I'm happy to have 1 or 2 at that price. But
yeah, there's I call it the law of diminishing returns. Whereas like there's a certain point where the joy that the beer brings does not outweigh the fucking sadness that spending like 20 quid on a cup of liquid.
Yeah. Well, I had one in Iceland in this really nice sort of craft brewery place, and it was 9 quid, and I thought that's actually nice. It's local,
the experience,
brewed, nice bar, and it with like the cup at the AO Arena. That was just bad. It was just I might as well have just thrown the money on the floor.
Yeah, when Rash were in their little island tour, not a couple month or so ago, and when we were in Dublin, we went to the Brazen Head, which is basically just like a tourist trap, but it's like the oldest pub in Ireland, like big quotation marks, and part of me almost like wanted to have a pint of Guinness just because it was like, well, I'm here at like the oldest pub in Ireland, and everyone's drinking Guinness and dancing and eating fucking cabbage and mash and gravy and I don't think there was a single Irish person in the whole bar that didn't work there. But I had a Guinness Zero. I finally found one of the bars and that had it on tap, and that was like like €8 or something for a pint, and I was like, this is like getting to that close to that area where I'm not going to really want to be paid as much for it. But
yeah, I mean, I guess it's a tricky thing with venues as well, just to go off topic slightly, but like the prices of beers in venues are so high, especially in like Manchester, are really high. But then from personal experience with those venues, if people aren't drinking, they're going to struggle to stay open.
Yeah,
and that's how I justify a £6 pint at a gig in Manchester. But
yeah, that's fair. Right, I think it's got to go in the bin. I think this is a binnable offence. So listen for a splash. In it goes.
Okay.
Still got the 1. We'll know by the end the final tally. But I can quickly thanks to my Patreon. So thank you to Bagsy, Aidan, Sean, Adam, James, Kate, Christiane, Claire, Bags, Tim, Alex, CJ, Snip, Jock, and CB, Peg, Robert, E, Jimmy, Mark, David, Will, Sarah, Chris, Dave, Caroline, Will, Dave, and Will and Cody. I used to be so good at raining them off. You take you get really lax with getting episodes out, and all of a sudden you can't read Patreons. This week's episode, unofficially, I'm saying it right now. Fuck you. Sponsored by MPF. No percentage off. Just buy a ticket and come to the show. And if you see me there, wave at me and pinch my little cheek. Not my bum cheek though. no permission for that. Just the face cheek. Yeah. I when I'd previously asked you to come on, and just before Christmas, I'd reached out to the people of Facebook, and I was like, yeah, let's ask Andy some questions. But that was a while ago now, and I scrolled back to find the questions, and I was like, you know what? I bet the people that asked those questions didn't even really remember asking those questions, and none of them were really jumping out to me as ones that I think would be particularly funny. So instead, I found this book at the local charity shop. Would you rather? It's a collection of hilarious hypothetical questions, and I picked it up because I thought that sounds like sea bin fodder. So I thought, let's have a flick through and do some would you rathers. How do you feel about
that? Yeah, if it's a published book, it's probably going to be kinder content than the public, isn't it?
Yeah, because normally, if I ask the public for would you rathers, it's always like, would you rather? It's like, oh yeah, you're in the middle of your mum and your dad. Do you push in or do you push back or something like that? It's like, I don't want to answer that question. Leave me alone. Or like, would you rather drown in your own cum or drown in someone else's cum? But this is quite nice. Would you rather cry Coca-Cola or chocolate milk tears?
Is it vegan chocolate milk?
Well, I guess not. If it's coming out of you, I guess that kind of makes it then an animal byproduct.
Yeah, so it's my milk.
It's your milk. It's man milk.
I don't really like chocolate milk, but I feel like Coca-Cola's going to be quite painful on your
acidic,
your eyes.
pH, yeah.
But I'm going to go for that because I prefer it.
Yeah. Chocolate milk, I'm going to get fucking rinsed for this. Overrated. Everyone talks about chalky milk like it's like the best. Strawberry milk, if I have to, but just don't drink milk.
No, I'm not
you're not a baby. Yeah. Would you rather always be hungry or always be thirsty?
I think I'd rather always be hungry.
Yeah, there's nothing more distracting than like proper gasping for a drink.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hungry right now, and I can still kind of concentrate. But if I was thirsty, I'd be like, what's this? Would you would you rather constantly smell really bad but not be able to smell yourself and everyone else can, or constantly be surrounded by awful stench that you can smell but no one else can smell?
Oh, that's quite a tricky one. I think I'd rather not smell, even though I just think I'd feel too awkward about people thinking I smell, and I'd know that they did.
Yeah,
and I feel like I could deal with other people. I'd just have to. It's in my control, that.
Yeah, you could just put some like fucking Vicks Vapor Rub under your schnoz and be laughing. Would you rather brush your teeth with a rat or a pigeon?
Well, it depends on the rat or the pigeon, really. What sort of rat? Because if they're like sort of like quite clean and stuff, like a rat would probably be better for brushing your teeth, wouldn't it? Like
because they're quite clean animals.
Yeah. Like pet rats are nice, aren't they?
Yeah, but even like wild rats, like people say like they're minging, but like rats are naturally quite clean. I know this because my partner's got a rat who recently passed away. Rest in peace, Nandor. But he was a fucking legend, and he was like. I used to be quite scared of rats, and then when I met Nandor and I had cuddles with him and realised like they're basically like little dogs. They like playing games and they like clean themselves and they don't like being dirty and they just like nibbling and snoozing. So I think a rat would probably forgive you faster than a pigeon would as well. I feel like a pigeon would be pretty pissed off.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go with the rat. I'm similar on rats. I used to not be a massive fan, and then I met some pet rats and they were really cool.
Yeah. Would you rather be trapped in a lift with a couple passionately kissing or fighting, like fist fighting?
Kissing, just leave them to it. It's nice, isn't it? Just ignore it. If there's a fight...
But passionately, though.
Yeah, but if there's a fight, you're going to have to... feel like you're going to have to stop it, don't you? And like...
You got to split them up.
Yeah.
Would you rather never have a shower again or never change your clothes again?
That's a hard one, that.
Because you're a fashionable man. You got threads.
Yeah, well, I like having a shower. Like literally, I was planning my answers to this in the shower about 40 minutes ago.
It's good ruminating time.
Yeah, in an ideal day, I would have probably 3 showers. I don't do it because I don't want to waste the water, but I'd have one in the morning, one when I get in from work, and one before I go to bed.
Oh, I like a pre-bedtime shower for sure.
Well, I do like snazzy clothes as well. It doesn't say anything about baths. I do like a bath, so I'll never have a shower again, and I'll have baths, and then I can wear whatever I want. That's sorted.
That's fair. Yeah, because you can always get a cup of water and dump it on your head in the bath. It's fine.
Yeah.
Same deal. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. You know what? You know why Sherlock Holmes smokes a pipe?
Yeah.
It's because like back in the day, people would smoke pipes because it was like a meditation thing. It's like how they would focus and think. So they like anyone that was wise, they'd often be like smoking a pipe because it was like a symbol of like. You light your pipe and you have to sit there and smoke it and focus on the pipe, and it was a chance to think. I feel like because people don't really smoke pipes anymore, I feel like the shower has become the modern day's pipe.
Well, like a place to think. Contemplate
life. Yeah, to ruminate. The toilet also, but also the toilet. You can't bring your phone in the shower, so on the toilet you can just doom scroll and wait for your legs to go numb. But in the shower, you think about your day, you get your shopping list done, you think about what you need to do.
Yeah, I think you're right. I quite like any sort of time where you're forced to be away from your phone, actually. I think it's good.
I often have arguments with people from my past in the shower. I don't know if that's a healthy thing to do or not. Do you ever do that?
No, but I just... Do you know... off topic, but like, there was a thing on social media couple of years ago about which way you stand in the shower, and it was one of the most hotly debated topics I'd seen. Yeah, face it or stand with your back to it.
Oh, I'll face it.
Yeah, like, and it went on for ages and ages. Like, people go face back to it, and I thought, does no one know that you can move? Like,
yeah, you can turn around. Yeah, you can flip.
Yeah, a bit of both.
I start the shower facing it, and then I eventually turn away to get my arse.
Yeah, it's nice both ways, isn't it? Like people don't know how to shower.
Yeah, we're all sort of pan shower sensuals. Would you rather wear someone else's used underwear or use someone else's toothbrush?
Depends on the person, doesn't it?
Let's think of a person.
Oh, no.
It's always the first person that comes to head. But like Jim from Peter Tramp, would you rather wear his pants or would you rather use his toothbrush?
I don't think he uses his toothbrush that much, so I think it's quite underused. Certainly, it's not his Tor toothbrush. He's probably got a toothbrush at home that he uses frequently. But his Tor toothbrush. Yeah, whereas his Tor pants are going to get a lot of use, aren't they?
Oh yeah. The night, there's like a night and day between Jim's Tor toothbrush and his pants.
So if it's his house, I'm going to go with his pants because I think at home he's quite clean and his pants will be alright. But I think on tour I'm going to go with his toothbrush.
That's fair. Would you rather only be able to communicate by singing, or only communicate by whispering in people's ears?
I mean, I think you're going to get punched either way, aren't you?
Yeah, I fucking hate it when people whisper in my ear. Really don't like it. Because I get like when people that you hear the hot breath in your ear and you're just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's not a nice choice really, but I think singing's the lesser of two evils, isn't it?
Yeah, it's obnoxious, but I think you'd lose friends faster if you were like whispering in their ear, like you can tell them a secret.
And if you're singing, you don't have to be that close to them when they swing a punch at you. Whereas if you're whispering in their ear.
Would you rather fight off a dog-sized rat or a cow-sized ant? That sounds fucking terrifying.
I mean, I think you're losing in both scenarios, aren't you?
I don't know. I don't know. It depends how vicious the rat is.
Yeah, I think the rat is a safer option, isn't it?
Yeah, I could.
The ant will be so strong, won't it? I mean, the rat's going to be a lot stronger than you, but the ant.
If an ant it can already lift like 10 times its body weight, imagine a cow-sized ant fucking can lift up a fucking truck.
Yeah, you've got no chance.
We'll do one more. What? Oh, that's a weird one. So I'm like experiencing this book for the first time as I'm doing it, and I'm sort of reading them just like, what? Would you rather remember everything and not be able to forget, or be able to completely forget anything? Sounds really fucking weird. Why would you choose the forget one?
It depends how much you drank. If we go back to the first.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, remembering everything would be useful, but it'd be quite traumatic at times, I think, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we'll do this one. How, do you think you'd remember everything? Or do you think you'd forget anything?
I don't know. Do I have to... I think I'm going with forget.
That's fair. To be fair, I think I probably would too. Would you last one? Would you rather know how you were going to die or when you were going to die?
I think I'd go with when.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is morbid, isn't it? But I think you'd be able to plan things and do things. And what if the way you were going to go is horrible? You'd just be worrying about that constantly, wouldn't you?
Yeah. What if you found out? I guess there's no getting around it. If you were like, "Are you going to die in 10 years on this day?" As it gets up to that day, you'd be like, "Well, fuck, should I just lay in bed and wait for it to happen?" But then, is that how it's supposed to happen? But then, if you find out how you're going to die, it's like, "Oh, you're going to get chopped up by a clown." So every time in the rest of your life you see a clown, you're going to fucking brick your shits out. Yeah. So there's no getting around it.
No, there's no. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of the book, isn't it? But there's none of them where there's anything nice. It's just the lesser of two evils. It's like voting or something, isn't it?
Right. Bin. What's the third bin? Bin me up.
All right, so I've got... Yeah. I'm going to go with that popcorn meme. Do you know the one I mean?
Is it the one where Michael Jackson's eating popcorn as a way to entice an argument?
Yeah, so I think... Well, the reason... This has always been something I hate. I think it epitomises everything I hate about social media, that particular meme. But I thought, I'd had a bit of a quiet spell where there hadn't been much sort of drama on social media, and then a few things started popping up before Christmas, really, and infighting and stuff. And I didn't actually see anyone post that meme, but it just reminded me of my hatred of that meme. And because it's I guess people think it's funny to put it there, but typically how it happens is there's an argument, isn't there? And you see the argument, and we're all sort of like, oh, this is going to kick off. And we're all sort of secretly intrigued by that, aren't we? And there's no point denying that. But do you go to the point where you think, I want to follow this so much that I'm going to drop that meme in the thread just so I get the updates of all the debate?
Yeah, just to passive-aggressively let people know, I'm watching this fucking train wreck and I want you to know that I think it's pathetic enough that I'm actually going to let you know that I'm watching.
Yeah. And then, sometimes you don't have loads of sympathy for people who play out personal things on social media, but other times you think, right, I know they're stupid to let this happen and fall out in this way, but surely we can rise above it enough that we think, right, don't openly tell people you're getting enjoyment from other people's misfortune.
Yeah.
It's well, I guess what that meme epitomises for me is the fact that people choose to have these big fallouts on social media and publicly do it for whatever reason. And then people get so much enjoyment out of it and you're sort of thinking, right, come on, we're better than that. And then also that sort of hatred of myself for suddenly thinking, I know it's bad, but I do kind of want to see how it ends up. So I hate it on all those levels. I hate it on a personal level that it picks up my intrigue, and I can't help looking at it. But I hate that we're all like that. And then I just feel like it's just such a horrible meme as well. And then I see it pop up and I'm like, you bastard, like, you really doing that? And then sometimes you see people you quite respect doing it and you're like, I know you think it's funny, but...
No, I think it's because it's basically like, when it boils down to it, it's like the visual manifestation of all of our internal sort of curtain twitching internet, like, gawking, rubbernecking. Like, we all have it. Like, anytime anyone drives past a car crash, we're all gonna, like, you know, look out the window and, like, see what we can see, no matter how morbid it is or how worried we are. It's like, it's in our nature to you know, to want to watch the firework go off.
Yeah.
And I think it's become a totem for a very dark and shit, like, personality trait that we all have inside us. So I think when we see it, it's a kind of harsh reminder that we're all capable of being fucking nosy bastards.
But then I was thinking about this in the shower as well, and I was thinking I absolutely hate that meme. But then I was thinking, I hate it when it's something where I know the people and it's something I'm close to. Because I think, like, that's someone's personal life playing out, and it's something I wish you could take them to one side and go, take that down, take that off the internet. But then I think sometimes people come out with such ridiculous nonsense that they kind of deserve it. So I thought, I've put it in now. It's too late to change it because I can't think of anything else. But I guess there is an occasion where I think it's funny.
Yeah. It's a tricky one because I know what you mean.
Well, in general, I think I mostly hate it because I just think it's really not very nice to get enjoyment from other people's personal lives and personal upsets and fallings out. And then I think, I know it's their fault for putting it on there, but I just think, I don't know, I think it's the teacher in me. I see my students on social media and I'm so glad I didn't have social media when I was their age.
Oh, mate.
And I'm just like, I see them having these little squabbles and I'm like, don't put that on the internet. There is no need for anyone to see that.
Yeah, like, nothing good's going to come out of it. Like, there's no resolution that happens where anything is better off at the end. I'm really glad that MySpace sort of crashed and burned, so all of the stuff that was on MySpace could be, like, quietly blinked into oblivion.
Justin Timberlake's got it, though, hasn't he? Didn't Justin Timberlake buy MySpace, or is that...
Did he?
Someone told me that. I don't know if it's true. But he's not done anything with it. Maybe he just bought it. I mean, I don't know if it's definitely even true, but maybe he bought it because he didn't like what he'd put on MySpace, and he thought, I've got that much money, I can get it and just get rid of it. That's probably nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, the juxtaposition between Justin Timberlake buying MySpace and Elon Musk buying Twitter. I'm liking this new renaissance of cringe Justin Timberlake clips being resurfaced. Have you seen the video of him performing at some award show and he, like, starts beatboxing and dancing, and then it cuts to Britney Spears and she just looks like the most fucking miserable person, knowing that at one point they had been in a relationship with each other.
I've not.
Have you seen that video? Oh, that's so good.
It's just made me think of when At the Drive-In played on Jonathan Ross or something, and Robbie Williams just cuts to Robbie Williams and he just looks really confused by what's going on. It's amazing.
Have you seen the clip of Robbie when he used to cover Rollin'?
No.
Limp Bizkit song.
I mean, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, back when Robbie Williams was on top of his game and touring around the world, he used to put on a red cap and perform Rollin', because he was like the bad boy of pop, wasn't he? So he had to be effing and jeffing and rocking out, showing the kids what he truly wanted. Don't get me wrong, I love a bit of Robbie, you know, class, good songs. But yeah, there's definitely a point where you're like, you know, should I be covering Limp Bizkit if I'm Robbie Williams? Probably not.
I saw Robbie Williams by accident when I was a teenager. He was at Glastonbury, but I didn't plan to watch him because I wasn't into it. But he was on the main stage, and he did a punk cover of either Back for Good or Angels. No, Back for Good. It was Back for Good.
No way.
And there was a massive pit. It was pretty funny.
Was it good though? It was a good show.
I didn't watch the whole set. He was a good entertainer, isn't he? I think when I was like 17, 18, I didn't want to watch Robbie Williams. I thought it was too cool for that, you know. But
I feel you.
I'd probably watch it now, out of interest, really.
If the people representing Robbie Williams sent you an email saying that Robbie wanted to headline MPF as like a rebranding of his career, would you have him on?
It depends. If I could write a set list and he could do Back for Good and Rolling as the encore, it's sorted, done.
Fucking.
He might have to reduce his fee.
Well, if he was just like, I'm doing it as a publicity stunt to like relaunch my career as like this edgy voice of a generation, and would just do it for free. Yeah,
he's in.
Oh hell yeah! The seed has been planted, people.
Yeah, he can play Zombie Shack.
just in between a Swedish crust band and fucking Comeback Clit, just like sandwiched between the two of them.
It's done.
Brilliant.
Sorted. He's from near where I'm from, actually.
Yeah, he'd probably go down really fucking well, I imagine.
Yeah, I'll see if I know anyone from back home who knows him. Try and get it sorted.
But like, mate, the wells run dry. Time to change it up. Do I want to throw this in the bin? The popcorn meme. It's the thing. We've kind of touched both sides of it in that, yeah, it's like we hate it because of what it represents and sort of what it's connected to, which is just general negativity and malice on the internet. But like you said, sometimes people deserve it, and sometimes we are drawn into it. So it's like, it's a tricky one. I think I am going to throw the slow bro, if I can find it. Where's he gone? There he is. I'm going to throw the slow bro on this one. Are you familiar with the dark slow bro fate? Cool. So slow bro up, it's going in. Pokeball up, it's staying out. It is staying out of the bin on this occasion. Fate has deemed it so. So we got one in, one out, one floating in the pre-judgment zone. What's the final bin?
Poachers turn gamekeepers.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna throw this in the bin preemptively. Okay, so you can just get it out of the way. Elizabeth a splash makes editing really easy for Jimmers. Bang, and it goes. Talk to me.
Well, I was kind of like, before I came on, I was umming and ahhing, and then I had a month in between. I wanted to change some of my choices because I'm not really a very angry person. I don't get angry by many things, and as you've seen in the previous ones, I'm sort of angered by it a bit, but then I can see a bit of redemption. Like,
yeah.
So I thought, again, whilst I was in the shower, I thought, what is actually making me angry at the moment? And we're waiting for a call from Ofsted at work, and I was standing in the shower thinking, what sort of fucking wanker becomes an Ofsted inspector?
Yeah.
And I was like, they're all people who used to be teachers, and everyone at my college is there panicking and dreading them coming. But they're all people who've been in that position themselves, and they've gone and they've decided that's what they want to do as a job. And I did put, like, last time I was on, I put teachers who constantly talk about being teachers in, because I think I just hate teachers, apart from the people in my office who I like.
Right.
But but they're the people, aren't they? The people I put in last time, the ones who, because there was a woman I saw in the supermarket, I heard talking in the supermarket, and she was like, oh, I'm just missing the classroom. I can't wait to get back in and put some displays up. And I was like, fuck off. And then that she will be an Ofsted inspector now. That's what's going to happen.
There becomes a level of being a job's worth that just kind of goes over the precipice into being just a fucking prick.
Well, it's just that, exactly. But it's also the complete lack of self-awareness that you don't realise that you're actually a hypocrite for doing it. Like, you don't realise that you've spent years being, like, in a position where that's made your life hard, and you've gone, oh, end of my career, few free dinners and a bit of money. I'll just go and make someone feel like absolute shit.
Mate, yeah. fucking shit.
Although that said,
I don't buy it.
I teach art, and I've been a teacher for 20 years, and Ofsted have never looked at me because I don't think they give a shit about art, do they? So they go into what they would call the proper subjects, whilst I do all this prep. I was almost annoyed last time. So Ofsted have come twice in relatively recent years, and they came before an MPF. I was like, brilliant, thanks. And then they came the week after the last Revenge gig. I was like, you absolute wankers. So the last Revenge gig, I just thought, I'm just not going to do any of the work because I'm just going to risk it. And then they didn't look at me, so it was fine. But
easy.
But then there's loads and loads of poacher turned gamekeeper jobs, isn't there? There's like, it's just, I guess it's just people not having the self-awareness that they're making someone's life harder, and it would have been their life they were making harder, or knowing that and not caring.
Yeah. I think of some more.
We have exam board moderators as well, because I think there's loads of those sort of jobs in teaching. So we're like a coursework subject, and we go to these moderation meetings, and they tell you how they want you to mark everything, and then you get a coursework moderator come in and they check your marking, and then they can move all your marks as well. So they're even worse, because I kind of put art teachers on a bit of a pedestal because they're better people than normal teachers. That's definitely true. They don't want to be teachers. They don't want to be teachers. They like art. That's why they do it, and that's why they're better. But the coursework moderators are art teachers who were poachers turned gamekeepers.
One I've thought of when I was working in chefing, you'd always see the chef who started out as a KP and then like worked their way up to become like sous chef or whatever over a period of years, and they're the ones that treat the KPs worse than anyone. Like you'd think like, mate, that was you know what it's like to have your fucking elbows deep in boiling hot water scrubbing fucking pans that have been cooked in, like, and you probably had a few pots and pans thrown at your head and were forced to scrub the fryer. Like, you know what it's like. Why are you being such a fucking prick? Same deal.
Yeah. Why do you think these people do it? Are they
actually... I don't know, like I'm sure like everyone wants to progress, right? Like when you want to move forward, you get the offer to get paid more, maybe the job just fits around you more, you want to feel like you're moving somewhere. No one wants to feel like stagnant in their job. I can understand that. But I think it's just like I don't understand where the empathy gets lost in it all. I mean, like I'm sure like a lot of people that do Ofsted probably don't want their teachers to be stressing out. It's just that their presence is naturally a stress-inducing fucking thing.
Yeah, but it's the very nature of it that it reminds me of something that I did years and years ago. So when we first started TNS. Me and my mate got asked to judge a Battle of the Bands, right? And I absolutely hate Battle of the Bands. I think they're the worst thing ever. I think music should be about community. I hate music competitions. I was like 24 or 25, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't agree with Battle of the Bands. And then me and my mate, Dave, had a chat about it, and we were like, we could do it and judge it properly and actually try and sort of say to people why we don't like it and try and maybe change it from the inside, if you like.
Yeah.
And we got there, and it was scored on like 4 things. I can't remember the points, but like 25 points for each thing. And one of them was ticket sales, and it was like basically a pay-to-play gig. And I was just like, you can't change this. You can't go in and try and say, maybe you bands need to like think about working together, have some sort of community. It's something that's inherently flawed that you can't change. And if I'd become a regular Battle of the Bands judge, which obviously I didn't do, I think I would have been a poacher and gamekeeper, wouldn't I? Because it's so flawed that I couldn't change it, and I would know that. And it's so I think maybe you're right that some people do go into these things thinking, "Oh, I can change it from the inside. Maybe I can do it in a better way." But the actual system that they're trying to change is so awful. I guess there'll be people listening to this going, so you don't think teachers should be checked, which is probably a fair point. But... But there's other ways of doing it. It's just like a show, isn't it, as well, with these sort of things like inspections and stuff. Like being told to do all this prep, it's like, well, it's not real, is it? Because that's not what happens normally. So you've done all this stuff that, you know, maybe in an ideal world you would do all the time, but you just literally haven't got enough time to do it. So it's not a realistic check of what's going on, is it?
I used to do a lot of retail management. The new job I'm starting is just like, you know, IT moderation and stuff like that. But I've managed shops for the last few years, and like my biggest enemy was when like the auditor would just show up like out of the blue to like check all my paperwork and stuff. And not like I was doing anything sketchy, but it's like I knew that nothing was ever going to be good enough. Like no matter what I did, like if I get one page out of order, I was going to get fucking spit roasted. It's like, and I used to think like, who would become an auditor like voluntarily as a job? Like, who applies for that job to be an auditor? Like, I'm gonna go to businesses and like fucking scrutinize every bit of paperwork for like the smallest detail over the last fucking however long. I just can't think of a fucking shitter job.
No, well, that's it. Like making a career out of telling other people they're wrong. That's why, like, because I got asked to be a course whip moderator, and I thought, no, I'm not fucking doing that. Imagine going to some school and going, actually, I think you've marked it wrong, so I'm going to change your marks. And all those kids that you've got like a relationship with, like over a couple of years doing their A levels, they're all going to get lower than you told them they're going to get because I've gone in. And I might have been right, that, you know, they might have marked it wrong, but what sort of person wants to be that person? So yeah, I thought I'm actually quite angry about this, and I'm rarely angry, so I thought I will put something in that actually annoys me. Yeah,
you know, you're a very chill man. You know, sometimes I'd say hard to read. Yeah. You know, because you've always got a smile on your face, even when you're like fuming. I've seen you in states of. I've seen you when you were drunk last night, and I've seen you in states of panic and stress at MPF, and at states of chill and like, you know, when it's all over. And you know, as someone who spent not a lot of time with you, it's very hard to differentiate. Normally, I can tell by the hue of your face. If you're like bright red, I know something's gone wrong. But you know, so yeah, seeing you actually annoyed by something is quite a rare sight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always stressed at MPF, but most of the time I can hide it.
Yeah. Normally it's only really noticeable when it's like the after party of the last day and like the last battle, and you're like finally allowed to like be pissed. and you're just like, yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, all right. Every time I've seen him, he's been like one thread away from absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that one was preemptively in.
Yeah.
So no splash. You got 2 in, 1 out, and 1 is up.
Yeah, I'm going to leave the one that's up out because I've just like got angry about something, and he is a nice guy. I'm going to forgive him, and I feel like if I leave him out and let him just carry on with his weirdness, it might add some more funny stories, mightn't it? So let's just let him carry on.
Yeah, well, like, you know, in like a year or so when we get you back on again, we'll hear how the story progresses. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons, Andy?
I've not. I'm aware of what it is, though.
So there's a thing you can do in D&D when you don't know what you want to do. Like if you're in combat or whatever and you don't know how you want to approach it because it's too early on, you can do a thing called holding your action, where you can say what you'd like to do, and you'd like to do it if a certain event triggers this thing to happen. So you can say like, oh, I'm going to like hold this spell, and if this creature comes at me or like attacks someone else, the spell's going to go off. Hold action. I'm going to hold your action on this sea bin. So what would trigger him to go in the bin? Like what would he have to do in your life to trigger it to happen? We can keep an eye out for this.
I think, yeah, if he tries to come in my house, I think that's
if you come home from work and he's doing if he's like fixing a cupboard or something.
Yeah, I think that'd be too far. I think he's got what he wanted now, and I'm happy for him to do nice things like fix.
He's got his victims.
Yeah, fix the the bird table and put some seeds out and stuff, and I'm happy for him to do that. But I think he's taken out the trees. Leave him be now. He's won his tree war.
Yeah,
he's had his Guinness.
What if he starts planting flowers? That's all right.
Yeah, it's okay, isn't it? What if he plants trees?
Yeah, plants new ones.
Well, I mean,
puts a fucking hench redwood right in the bag. He's like, this is the one I wanted.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's a connoisseur of trees and he just doesn't like conifers.
Yeah, he's treating your garden like he's playing Sims. He's like, oh, I'm going to cut that out, put that one in. I
mean, I think he just needs to. It's going to take him ages to dredge that whole lake. Leave my garden alone. He can mow the lawn. He can mow the lawn if he wants.
What if he's dredging the lake to hide, to move some bodies that he's planted there that he feels might get found soon?
I mean, he does display some worrying behaviour, doesn't he? Like, I can't completely rule that out.
There's a man of who seems to work on instinct, and it's quite chaotic.
Maybe I need to go and have a look at the garden. Maybe he's dug holes and buried stuff, and he's like, knock a few branches off this tree, and he's so oblivious to anything garden related that he won't notice that I've buried all the bodies in his garden, and I'm gonna get caught.
Be liable. Yeah. There's like 15 feet under your garden, and other neighbours have got their torsos and hands and heads and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I've just wandered out, looked up, and not seen any of that.
Yeah, he's like the magic trick. He's like distracting you up with having a weird fucking conifer, but you're not even noticing that there's someone's spine hanging out of the floor.
He's got me, hasn't he?
He's had you, mate. He's had you.
No. And I've not even put him in the sea bin.
Yeah,
I've just forgiven him. I've forgiven him.
Well, the action's held. If you do find a spine, that'll trigger a fucking a post binage. You have to let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe at MPF, I'll walk up to you with the mic and I'll say, "Yeah, got any updates? how's the trees looking?"
Yeah, plan.
Brilliant. Right, well, you got the Twix, 2 in, 2 out. Everything's gravy, balanced. Get a bit of yin yang action, some balance there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming on. I'm glad that we managed to make it work. Anything you want to let people know about what's going on with you before we shoot off?
No, but I think you said it all. Like, MPF isn't sold out yet. It'd be nice to sell it out again.
There's like 20% tickets left.
Yeah.
Snag them.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to see it full. Obviously, it's nice to sell it out, but obviously, there's loads of smaller bands playing in the daytime. We've really tried to get some younger bands on this year as well, because we really noticed that the scene is we're all getting older, aren't we? And there's lots of exciting young bands coming through. So get down early and give some of those bands a chance as well. We've got some bands that like teenagers playing this year, and I think they're the people who are going to be putting on the gigs in the future and the future of the scene, really. So
yeah, invest in the scene. Like, we would never have bands like Rash or Revenge of Psychotronic Man or like Grand Collapse. Like bands that became. I'll talk about my own band here in a way that sounds a bit pompous, but not iconic. What am I trying to say? Like mainstays of the scene, where people still talk about gigs they went to fucking years ago, like it's a core memory. Like at any point, we were fucking teenagers just trying to make it work, and if invest in those young bands, because they will become your favourite band in like fucking 2 years' time.
Yeah, and I realised today that it's nearly 20 years since the first ever Revenge gig. So some of those people were not born when Revenge started playing.
It's fucking crazy shit.
So yeah,
but maybe they wouldn't even be playing if it wasn't for the fact that Revenge went out there and did it and created a scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, the first ever Revenge gig was the first ever TNS gig, and that was it was called the Attic then, but it was a Zombie Shack, what is now a Zombie Shack. So it's pretty ridiculous thinking that first gig was 20 years, almost to the day of MPF actually. So yeah, 20 years on, like that first gig not TNS on our own, obviously, as AU and Moving North and everything. It's a collective, but thinking the first Manchester gig I ever put on was 20 years, almost to the day. MPF is pretty ridiculous, really.
And now look what it's grown into.
Yeah, that's cool.
This way, hopefully no one cuts down this tree.
That's a brilliant way to end this.
Absolutely. Right, you know where to go, people. It's nice to talk to you. I've got a bunch of people I'm going to be talking to in the next few weeks and stuff. Hopefully get the bin ripping and rocking again in 2020. This year, like last year, was fucking a bit ropey for me, just with my mental health and personally and stuff like that, and just being busy with my old job. It was left no room to be able to do this, but hopefully this new job will. I'm just feeling fresh. Check out the Patreon. I'm going to be really trying to get things kicking off there. Hopefully see you at MPF. And let's fucking do this. New year, guys. Let's do it. Crack on. Cheers, Andy. You're a fucking hero.
Thank you, mate.
And I'll see you later on in the year.
Yeah, awesome.
Later. Hey guys, it's me, Big Tasty. I just wanted to say cheers for listening to this week's episode, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. Now, if you feel so inclined, you should come check out my Patreon page. You can sign up for as little as £1 a month, and you get weekly exclusive video tier lists and monthly mail-outs with things such as stickers and fabric patches, zines and art prints. Hey, and if you can't spare the money right now, I totally understand. No pressure. I'm going to keep making episodes regardless. But if you can support financially, it really helps the show. Just keep moving on. And then another way you can help is just to follow us on stuff like Twitter and Instagram at Seaman Podcast, and share it around to people that you think might like this filthy shit. Anyway, love you guys, appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.